Good morning, everybody. So yesterday we did factoring basic trinomials in the form of x squared plus or minus bx plus or minus c, which was chapter 8.5, I believe. And this is just an extension of chapter 8.5. I broke it up into two parts because I didn't want to do too much in one day. So we are just going to be doing the same thing, only now we are going to be solving equations using factoring and the zero product property, or we're going to be doing something called finding the zeros of a function. And it's not challenging at all, and it's just really the same thing we were doing yesterday, only now we're going to be solving. So in example 1, you'll see I have a trinomial x squared minus 6x minus 16 equals 0. And we learned how to factor that trinomial yesterday. We learned that trinomial, we need to identify the c value, find the factors of the c value that add up to the b value. Instead of doing it like we did yesterday, where I had you fill in all of those blanks and everything on the sheet, I have this cool little x method that I use. It kind of streamlines the process. So you'll see I just make an x. I put the c value at the top of the x, which is negative 16 in this case. I put the b value in the bottom of the x, which is negative 6. And then off to the side, I write the factors of 16, which are 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. And I'm going to find the factors that have, and because it's negative, we need to have factors that have opposite signs, because they have to multiply to give you negative 16. And if I choose 8 and 2, and make the 8 negative and the 2 positive, that will add to give me the b value. So that's the goal. The goal is to try and find the two numbers that multiply to give you this and add to give you this. And then you just put those on the other side of the x, and those are what go in our binomials. So I have x minus 8 and x plus 2. Okay? Once I have it factored, I can just use the zero product property. So the question is, what makes x minus 8 equal 0? And that would just be the opposite of minus 8, which would be plus 8, because 8 minus 8 gives you 0. And what would make x plus 2 equal 0? And the answer is negative 2, the opposite of plus 2, because negative 2 plus 2 gives you 0. And those are your two solutions. When you do these problems, I would like you to do them exactly like that, so you could show your work. So please make sure you set up your x, make sure you set up your find your factors, make sure you set up your factoring, and then come up with the solution. So please submit your answer just like the ones in the video. Otherwise, I will not give you credit, because this is showing your work that you actually did the problem. Please do that. Example 2, in case you didn't get example 1, same thing. X squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. I'm going to put the c value in the top of the x, plus 6. Put the b value in the bottom, minus 5. The factors of a positive 6 that will add to give you negative 5. So I'm obviously looking for negative numbers, because a negative times a negative is a positive, and will also add to negative 5. And the factors of 6 are 1 and 6, and 2 and 3. So if I take that factor pair, negative 2 times negative 3, that will multiply to give me positive 6, and add to give me negative 5. Pop those into my binomials, x minus 2 and x minus 3. And what makes each of those equal 0? So 2 minus 2 gives you 0, and 3 minus 3 gives you 0. So there's two solutions, 2 and 3. Okay, so the last example, it's the same problem, just phrased differently. So it says find the zeros of the function. So you'll notice this problem in example 3 has f of x equals the trinomial. So it doesn't say the trinomial equals 0. It says f of x equals the trinomial. And then they ask you to find the quote-unquote zeros, which basically means find when y equals 0, and f of x is y. So all you have to do for the first step is just change that f of x to 0, and then you're just solving this problem the same way. Factor the trinomial x squared plus 10x plus 21. I made my little x over there. So the C value is 21, positive 21. The B value is 10. The factors of 21 that give you 10 when you add them together would be 3 and 7. Factor that trinomial into the two binomials, and then use the zero product property to find the x values, which basically means what makes each of those equal 0. So there are two solutions, -3 and -7. All right, that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to private message me, send me an email, set up a meeting. But most importantly, once again, for each problem that I ask you to do, please make sure you set up your work and show all your steps, just like I did. If you just have answers, it will not be accepted. So please make sure that you set up your work and do the problems. Have a good day.